If you want to see how I made a new frame for an Alice pack on the cheap, stay tuned. I obtained a large Alice pack. It came with the wrong frame, so I was left with a pack that couldn't be affixed to anything. So the answer was make your own frame and make it cheap. It was possible to buy a proper dedicated Alice pack frame off the internet. But if the frame was cheap, the postage wasn't. After hunting around on the internet and YouTube, I came up with the idea of using an old bread tray. It was plastic, it was easy to cut, but it was fairly tough.
The first thing to do was to clean the bag. I did this by putting it in a bucket of water with biological washing powder and holding it down with a plastic tub full of water. Once the bag was taken out and dried off, it was time to check every individual stud, rivet and fastening. The steel items were rusty. The brass or copper items were also covered with verdigris. So after cleaning off the verdigris, it was then time to sand off the rust, cover it with rust remover, and then use nail varnish to cover over the bare metal. The webbing straps were cut on an angle and then burnt with a lighter to seal them so they would pass through the buckles easily. Alice packs have a right and a left-hand strap. I received two left-hand straps, so I had to modify one of them to turn it into a right-hand strap. I cut the bottom section free, turned it and stitched it down with double stitching. So now I have a left and a right hand strap. The first part of the process was to discover the dimensions of the Alice pack frame and transfer them using a magic marker to the bread tray. To cut the bread basket, I decided to use an electric jigsaw. I used the hardwood blade because it would cut effectively and not clog up. Once the backboard was cut to size, I now tried it against the pack. It fitted. The next job was to decide how big the cutout for the back should be. Two of the slots were marked and extended so the rucksack bag could be attached to the frame using a retaining strap. To provide extra stiffness and support, a wooden board was cut to size and screwed to the pack frame. Once it was fastened, a space to accommodate someone's back was cut out. Finally, the edges were sanded off using an electric sander. Once the edges had been sanded, a hole was drilled into each side to allow the pack frame straps to be attached. Once the shoulder straps were attached, it was now time to screw on a strap from one side of the frame to the other to provide a back support. And the acid test. Was the frame and the pack comfortable? With a half but heavy load, I tried it out. It worked. Don't be afraid to improvise and adapt your kit, especially if it costs you nothing. Big thank you to everyone who watches, comments and subscribes. So get out there, get training. You know it makes sense, it'll serve you well.